Guess who got brands talking? Brandlive.co.za.
Welcome to the Financial Independence Coach, naturally creating freedom, meaning, and wealth. Brought to you by Yefo Pty Ltd, in association with Brandlive.co.za. And here is your host and coach, Yvonne E. Ventilo.
Good morning, Brand Life streamers and Yefo Pty Ltd subscribers. A new season has sprung. Spring. Although here in Joburg it feels a bit like winter again. But a new season for growth. A new season for hope. We see the trees blooming, getting new leaves. We had our first spring rains. New hope. New beginnings. Benjamin Franklin said, be always at war with your vice, at peace with your neighbors, and let each new year find you a better man. Well, we don't have to wait for New Year to become better men and women. Spring is a perfect season to start new beginnings. New beginnings in our financial life, in our emotional life. New beginnings does not mean you forget the chapters that you've already written. It means you're just starting a new one. And how better to start a new one by actually taking track of where you are. Now, in today's show, I'm going to go back to a subject that we've discussed in a previous show, but I didn't go into detail with it. And I've received several questions with regards to how to actually do it. Well, the how-to is going to be a bit of admin intensive if you're not used to it. I'm forewarning you now. And it is going to come with a bit of a shock. But you'll notice that as we go along. When a man puts a limit on what he will do, he limits himself on what he can do. Unfortunately, that is so true in our day-to-day lives. Charles M. Schwab most probably directed it at each and every single person. Each and every single person that does struggle to obtain their own financial freedom, their own emotional freedom. Because you limit yourself by just thinking that you can't do it. You will limit yourself, but not by not being able to do it at all. The subject at hand today is the shoebox experiment. Now, I've received several questions, like I said, from 7 different people, asking me exactly how to do the shoebox experiment and for what reason would you want to do it. Well, let's start at the reason. Why? Why would you want to do a shoebox experiment? Now, for any journey that you take in life, you have to be honest about where you currently are at. Your current GPS coordinates. Where are you? No point in planning to travel to a luxurious destination where life is just going to be a walk in the park filled with daisies and roses and water fountains and a whole lot of trees that gives you shade. If you don't have the point where you are at now to start your planning from, you're going to end up anywhere else but where you are planning to go. It's like me saying, I am sitting down in Cape Town and I'm planning a route to the Botanical Gardens. I'm never going to get there. I'll most probably end up somewhere in the Karoo. instead of at the Botanical Gardens. Being honest with yourself of where you are exactly right now, this point in time, where you're starting your new chapter. It's the most important thing of your entire journey. Because if you don't have the exact coordinates of where you are, you'll just end up setting yourself up for failure. And that is one thing I do not want you to do. Because setting yourself up for failure is going to put you in a negative mindset. It's going to ruin your whole experience. It might even put you in a place where you don't want to do planning no more. Because what's the use? You just don't end up getting where you want to go. It was Tony Robbins that said in his Business Mastery that a business should not actually draw up a plan. It should draw up a map. And to draw up that map, you should know where you are at now, where you're starting from, to know where you're going. I mean, if you use, for instance, some of the technological tools that's available these days to plan your route, it uses your exact GPS coordinates from where you are starting off from to where you want to go. And a lot of the times there are detours. There could be robots that are out. There could be construction somewhere. There could be roadblocks that you have to go around. But if you have your beginning point, your current situation, and you've got the end, the teleos in mind, where you want to go, where you want to be, then you can start planning from that. Now, the shoebox experiment is a tool to help you determine exactly where you are at now. Where are you currently in your financial situation? What are you spending your money on? Where is your money flowing to? Where are the holes in your bucket? Taking into account of every cent that you spend, of every cent that you earn. Now, yes, this could be very admin intensive. There's a few ways that you can do it. You can physically write it down in a notebook. This is how much I got in. Spend 20 Rand here for coffee, 30 Rand there on lunch, 20 Rand there on transport, 100 Rand for petrol. Or you can automate it slowly but surely. And you don't have to be an accounting genius like one of the questions referred to. I have no idea what's happening in accounting. How do I track this? That's simple. When you go to my website, and that's yevl.co.za, that's YEVL.co.za, you'll find a tab there for products and services. Under those, there's a tab, free templates. Now, one of the free templates that I offer is the income and expense tracker. It's a plain and simple Excel spreadsheet that is formulated for you to go and track every single cent that you have spent. And I must forewarn you, when you start tracking, you'll start noticing, observing what you are spending your money on. And it is going to be a shock. I have sat with business coaches who have started with the shoebox experiment on the Excel spreadsheet and almost fell off their chair when they realized how much they spend on certain stuff. And what's the point of a shoebox experiment? Well, it's simple. Well, for me, it's simple. It's reverse engineering your budget. It is taking into account what your life consists of now. What are the debit orders that's going through your bank account? What are the things that you daily spend your money on? What are the things that you want to spend your money on, but just can't get to it? Once you have taken those things into account, you can then sit and reverse engineer your budget. And you can reassess the things that you've spent money on, which you realize might have been a waste. Now, my waste and your waste could be two totally different things. You could be somebody that has this deep desire need to have the latest and greatest technology because you need it for your job. You need it to generate an income. But it's not necessarily what's important to me. In the same way, for me, books and education material, I'll spend copious amounts of money on that. But it's not necessarily what you are after. You don't necessarily want to know all the psychics and psychologies and hypnotherapies and subliminal therapies that go along with different psychological states. So you're not going to spend money on that. So to build a budget, for me to build a budget for you would be totally different than you building a budget for yourself. When I sit with my clients and we actually get to the budget building stage, the reverse engineering of their budget, a lot realize where they are dripping out of their bucket. On a previous show when we had Dr. Michelle here, she pointed out that when they did the reverse engineering of their budget, they realized that they kept on coming short. And they couldn't put their specific finger on what it was specifically. But only once they did the reverse engineering that they note that it was her spending habit of buying a cup of coffee on the way to work every morning that led to the shortfall of their 300 Rand a month, which was not recorded in their budget. Several times I sit with clients with a budget when we look at their affordability. And this came up several millions of times through my entire career in the financial industry, where a client's budget says one thing, but when you actually reverse engineer it, it's a totally different story. And that's why they keep on feeling despondent. That's why they keep on feeling, but they're not getting anywhere. They are doing the planning. They've got the investments. They've got the policies. But the credit card debt is not coming down. They end up in the middle of the month, at the end of their money, and still have half a month to go. But once you reverse engineer your budget and you actually determine exactly where you are at, you can start forward planning from there. You can start failing forward. Now, when recording all this information, you might think to yourself, but is it worth the while? Is it worth the effort? Well, let me ask you this question. The current home that you are living in, if somebody did not take the time and effort to plan the entire building, that is your sanitation works, the water, pipes flowing in, pipes flowing out, electricity point coming in, electricity point going out. If somebody did not do that planning, would your house look the way it looks today? Would it be functionally operational meeting your expectations or not? Why don't you think about that while we take an ad break?
Have you ever thought about the power of social media? Social media has the power to make your business grow. Grow! Yeah. Why don't you let us manage your social media? Because our business is to see your business grow. Visit us at www.bstownmedia.co.za.
Harnessing the power of talk radio. brandlive.co.za. Making a bold statement yet blending into the surrounding suburbs of Melville, 27 Boxes is a realization of edgy design and practical implementation. A radical departure from the shopping malls of our generation, yet not a return to the high streets of our youth. 27 Boxes showcases the best of a shopping centre set in a garden, surrounded by the bohemian suburb that is Melville. 27 Boxes, shop, play, eat.
Whether you're an athlete or just going about your day-to-day business, use Turbo Freeze on the go for any pain relief or inflammation. It's the #1 pain relief formula. To find out more, log on to our website www.turbofreeze.co.za.
Live from 27 Boxes in the heart of Melville, this is brandlive.co.za.
Welcome back to the Financial Independence Coach Show. Before our break, we chatted about taking stock of where we are. And I asked you a question to go and think about the planning that went in to the home that you are living in now. And if somebody didn't take the time and effort to do proper planning to build that house, would it be operationally functionable? Now, a lot of times we don't realize how important it is for us to take stock of where we are at. Because we are so busy chasing a dream, chasing a something, chasing peak hour traffic to get to work on time. We are so busy chasing that we forget to take stock of where we are. We're in such a rush that we forget the little things, the things that we think is mundane, not important. And the shoebox experiment points out exactly those little things, those things that you think is not important. That quick swipe of the card here, I've got cash in my wallet, I can buy it. And they're not tracking and monitoring it against our budget. And if you tell me that it is admin intensive, yes, it is. But it was Billie Jean King that said, pressure is a privilege. Remember that next time you are stressed. Pressure is a privilege. Because when you are under pressure, you force yourself to grow. You force yourself to move out of your current comfort zone and move forward. You have to get up every morning with determination if you're going to go to bed satisfied. And these are the words of George Lumiere. If you're not determined to do a certain thing, you're not going to find time to do it. And several of the gurus and coaches and mentors that I have interviewed over the last couple of years, of which some has featured on this show, when you go and ask them, when they have spoken to seminars and workshops, and the people who have raised their hands to the question that it always gets raised, who wants to be financially independent? Everybody puts their hands up. when you ask the counter question, who actually is financially independent, all those hands go down again. It's the same as that cartoon strip that I've seen a couple of years ago of a guy standing on the podium and asking a crowd of people, who's up for change? And everybody raises their hands. And in the next block he asks, who's willing to work for it? Who's willing to change? Nobody answers his question. Now, if it's really admin intensive to go and sit down at the end of the day and record what you have spent your money on during the course of that day, then take it a step up. Automate the system for yourself a bit. There is several tools available. The one I favor is Wave Apps. It's waveapps.com. It's a free online accounting software tool. But what I like about it is the two additional apps that come with it. It's the Receipt app and the Invoice app. Now, while you're doing your shoebox experiment, utilize the Receipt app. You don't have to walk around with all those receipts. I know it can be a bother. Your wallet ends up looking thrice the size that it actually is, not because of all the money that it's holding, but because of all the slips. Use Waves app, the receipt part, and record those. I mean, every one of us almost walks around with a smart cell phone that can take a photo. The Receipt app takes a photo of your receipt, the money that you've just spent, and uploads it into the system. That way you don't have to walk around with all the receipts. That way you can then sit at the end of the week instead of the end of the day and go and book all those expenses. You don't necessarily have to be an accounting genius to use it. It is very user-friendly. But you can record everything that you spent on. You can look back and see, my word, I've spent so much on petrol this month. Or I've spent so much on transport. And you can start calculating those expenditures into your actual physical budget. Not your dream budget of, okay, now I've got these debit orders, and then after the debit orders, I should have so much to spend. But your actual physical budget, where you are actually now on your spending habits. What are you doing now with your money? And you can track it. You can take it a step further and split it between personal and business. And see where the holes are in your business account. Where is your cash flow going to? Why are you not reaping the rewards of your efforts? You can actually take stock. Get an exact ping on the map, on your GPS location of where you are at now. Then you can take it a step further and start looking at what do you need to do to change where you are at now to move towards where you want to be, where you desire to be, where you want to go. Your own financial independence. It's not necessarily buying a lotto ticket and winning R1 million. $1 million for some people is not going to give them the financial freedom that they long for. I know of individuals that earn 150,000 Rand a month that is so indebted that winning the lotto of R1 million is not even going to get their bucket halfway full. But each person has a different situation. Each individual is standing on a different space on the map. There's no other person in this world that is in exact position where you are. That's why you need to take stock. You need to check every single detail of your current financial life. Once you have tracked your spending habits for 3 months, and I say 3 months because that would give you an average for the year, then you can decide, renegotiate with yourself. Is this going to get you to where you want to be, or do you need to change it? Is this the way you want to live for the rest of your life? I mean, yesterday somebody sent me a video of Colonel Sanders. I'll upload it onto the website as well as a blog post within the next week, of his entire life story. It took him his entire life to get at retirement to receive $105 from the state as pension, to realize this is not what he wants. This is not how he wants to live the rest of his life. That's when he realized he's got the one thing that nobody else have got. It's being himself and being a brilliant cook and having his special recipe at 65. So it's never too late, not for you, not for me, to change anything in our life that we want to change. At 65, he received a pension check of $105. At 80-odd, he retired as a billionaire. That's less than 20 years. But he got up every morning determined to change his life. He took stock of where exactly he was at. And he made the decision to change it and take the action towards it. So go and look on my website for the free template, the Excel spreadsheet. It's the income and expense tracker. That's on Yevl, YEVL.co.za, under the free templates. Or do yourself a favor and go and look for the Waves app and utilize it. Start tracking exactly where you are at now, while you're dreaming and planning to go where you want to be. Only then will you be able to find your way. Only then will you be able to actually build on that dream. Take action towards your financial freedom, your financial independence. Only then will you really realize where you are now and how many holes your bucket has. But for now, that is me for this week. From the studio at 27 Boxes here in Melville, you've been listening to Brand Life, the Financial Independence Coach, brought to you by Yevl Pty Ltd.
Harnessing the power of talk radio. Brandlive.co.za